Helmets on! It's time to rock and ride!
If you're a fan of this series, you know there's a whole lot of kid shows that are very similar to previous and very popular shows. I'm talking about Mask and Transformers, Big Bad Beetleborgs and Power Rangers, but also plenty of shows we haven't covered yet, like Cow and Chicken and Ren and Stimpy, Coconut Fred and SpongeBob.
Make way for a couple of entrepreneurs!
And then there's the group of shows that are super similar to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wow! Pizza heaven!
We've already covered Street Sharks and SWAT Cats in previous episodes, but today we're adding Biker Mice from Mars to the mix.
Nothing to do but rocking and rolling and racing through the cosmos.
Now, remember, even though these non-TMNT shows also all feature humanoid animals kicking ass while cracking jokes,
Didn't your mamas ever tell you boys not to play with pop guns?
we don't like to call them rip-offs. They're, homages. But at the same time, we'd be wrong to not acknowledge that these shows were born out of attempts to capitalize, cash in on existing trends.
Pardon me, have you any Grey Poupon?
But that's not something Biker Mice from Mars creator Rick Unger was trying to hide. He acknowledged that Mice is dead to TMNT when the show premiered. He also has a great story for how his spin on the formula came to him, from seeing a gang of yuppie bikers pull into the parking lot of a classic Jewish deli in Los Angeles. In that fun anecdote, we can see how these shows that at first sight might seem like copycats are actually special, because even if they start off aiming for a similar market, they always end up telling their own story and doing their own cool thing in the process. And as we'll see in the case of this show, that would involve some heavy metal and a really dope message about environmentalism. Oh, and also, watch out for a Beverly Hills 90210 connection. Huh? Here's everything you didn't know about Biker Mice from Mars. Biker Mice from Mars was produced by Marvel Productions. Yep, that Marvel. For its first season, and New World Animation for the second and third season. New World was a new subsidiary of Marvel. The animation was done by Philippine Animation Studios Inc. based in, Philippines. The show ran on syndication from September 18th, 1993 to February 24th, 1996. There were 3 seasons with a total of 65 episodes. Now, unlike TMNT, which was 4 main characters, Biker Mice keeps things a little more concise with 3, Throttle, Moto, and Vinny. The 3 mice ride AI-responsive motorcycles and all have cybernetic enhancements as a result of injuries they sustained fighting the Plutarchians back on their home planet of Mars.
Weren't all Martian mice destroyed during the Plutarchian occupation of Mars?
Throttle was basically the leader.
There's only 3 things you can count on. Your brains, your bros, and your bike.
Alright, I don't know about you, but that's leadership I'd ride or die for. He also rocks a sweet leather vest with nothing under, so props to him for pulling that off, because very few of us can.
I can't.
Throttle also has cybernetic eyes, so he always wears sunglasses. Moto is the biggest and strongest of the bros, but don't let that fool you. Guy's a sweetheart.
My bike. Limburger's got my bike.
We'll get it back, bro.
You promise?
But still, he's not to be messed with, because my man shoots lasers right out of his robot arm. Then there's Vinny, who's the cocky comic relief. He takes the biggest risks on his bike.
Whoa! Imminent destruction! What a rush!
Has a sweet faceplate, but no game with the ladies.
Have I got style or what? What you got is bad breath. You been eating onions again, huh?
Oof. Speaking of ladies, the main target of Vinny's lame flirting and also their main ally is Charlie Davidson.
Thanks. I live for your approval.
Huh? Charlie Davidson, Harley Davidson, they're bikers? Come on, that's good. Charlie is a mechanic who owns a Last Chance garage where she works her bike repair magic.
You're a pretty good bike jockey.
Best in Chi-Town.
Villain-wise, the mice and Charlie square off against the Plutarchians.
Greetings, Lord Camembert.
An alien race who've been destroying planet after planet, including Mars, in their pursuit of natural resources to support their own home world.
Earth should have been mined to dust by now. What's taking you so long?
Now, the Plutarchians are on Earth, setting up the majority of the show's battles. The main villain is Mr. Limburger, and yes, before you ask, lots of Plutarchians are named after cheeses.
Every eye-watering vapor is a testament to my extraordinary success, Limburger.
Looks like a little dissension in the ranks.
Smells rank anyway.
Because, you know, the cartoon trope about mice loving cheese. Yo, Monterey Jack crossing over to biker mice would have been dope. Somebody draw that up. Anyway, Limburger is a Plutarchian who spends most of his time disguised as a human businessman.
I have additional preparations to attend to, my nefarious Nimrods.
But he still finds time to eat worms and, you know, good alien like that. Limburger is also supported by mad scientist Dr. Carbuncle.
How very nice of you to remember.
The hapless Grease Pit.
It wasn't my fault, boss.
And a bunch of mostly one-off villains who are inspired by iconic movie and TV characters, superheroes, or celebrities, including Elvis.
How's my hair? Perfect!
So how does Biker Mice compare to TMNT? Tell you what, how about we make a list of some of the things that TMNT had that Biker Mice seems to have used as a point of reference. Turtles and mice, both kinds of animals. The turtles have the title of ninjas and mice are bikers. The turtles have April O'Neil and the mice have Charlie. The turtles go nuts for pizza while the mice like hot dogs. How about the turtles live in a sewer den and the mice live in a scoreboard?
This place will make as good a hideout as any.
What, here? In the scoreboard?
The turtles are mentored by a rat. The mice actually hate rats.
Rat!
I don't know why, but that kind of makes me sad for some reason.
My mama didn't raise no stinking rat!
Oh, also Grease Pit
Got you now, Mousy!
kind of gives me Rocksteady vibes. What do you guys think? Just me? No?
Looky what we found!
But Biker Mice wasn't even the only biker theme show biting TMNT style. Over in England, kids were watching Avenger Penguins featuring a penguin biker gang that was up to very similar antics. How do they change gears? Their legs aren't long enough, they have like webbed feet. Alright, the thing that's probably most important to talk about with Biker Mice though is its environmentalist theme. Now, there are a few reasons why the show had this. I mean, besides the fact that the writers probably liked the environment. For one thing, the 90s saw a booming interest in environmentalism, both in media and broader culture. This was when climate change became a mainstream talking point. There was also the Save the Rainforest movement that became a major rallying cry also in the 90s.
In less than one generation, these rainforests have been profoundly changed and partly destroyed by civilized man.
In media though, and kids media in particular, there were tons of movies and TV shows warning about the risks of industrial activity and taking the planet for granted. Now, we've already talked a lot about Captain Planet on Eydk, but there was also Widget the World Watcher, the Magic School Bus, and movies like Once Upon a Forest,
There's gonna be some celebrating today!
Fly Away Home, and Fern Gully.
Well, all right, Gummy. We're going to war.
Now, there's a movie that deserves a rewatch.
There goes the neighborhood.
The fact that Biker Mice had such a strong message running through it probably also comes out of the changes that occurred in kids' TV in response to the 1990 Children's Television Act.
If we value what our children read, see, and hear, we need to hold discussions like this.
Over the next few years, the act did a couple of things. First, it limited the amount of time networks could air commercials during children's programming. And second, and more relevantly here, it demanded stations air programming that served the educational and informational needs of children.
It is as essential as ever to ensure that our kids are educated, healthy, and prepared for the 21st century, and that they are protected from commercial exploitation.
The language was kept pretty vague, so what ended up happening was that many shows added themes or elements that could be plausibly interpreted as educational while still keeping things more traditionally entertaining. You know, with lasers and explosions and stuff.
Whoa, Sizzle City!
Biker Mice touches on a lot of different environmental issues over the course of the series. Planetary resource theft, oil and steel reserves.
We need steel, and we need it now!
Strip mining and land instability. Water pollution.
I smell a Plutarchian slime ball at the other end of this drain.
Or my personal favorite, when the mice take a job as stuntmen on a movie and the episode becomes about safe working conditions for people working on sets in the entertainment industry. So shouts out to the bros for keeping me safe on set.
What steps have you taken to ensure there are no more accidents during the shoot?
Oh, well, he's hiring us.
To keep an eye on things.
It's also worth pointing out though that the mice do ride motorcycles which do emit carbon. But you know what? They do so much good for the planet that I think we'll give the motorcycles a pass.
What can we say, sweetheart? It's a mouse thing.
Personally, I love the time travel and reality bending episodes of the series. If you've never seen the show and are wondering what it would be like if the mice met up with King Arthur,
you warriors have slain the dragon who devours our countryside. We must celebrate.
Characters from Shakespeare,
to whip tail or not to whip tail? That is the question.
And literal dinosaurs, well, all I can say is just watch.
A leaf eater, eh, sweetheart?
Series creator Rick Unger has claimed that Biker Mice was TV's first heavy metal cartoon. Now, whether or not that's definitely true, I'll leave to you guys in the comments to think of an earlier example and prove Rick wrong. The heavy metal vibe definitely dominates the show's musical style. The theme song is a little light on lyrics. The only words are Biker Mice from Mars.
Biker Mice from Mars.
But is definitely heavy on the metal. We're talking powerful guitar riffs and screaming soloing over images of the mice going from Mars to Chi-Town and doing battle with the Plutarchans. William Anderson did the music for all 65 episodes of Biker Mice, as well as all the music for the 2006 reboot that we'll talk about later. We really got into Anderson's musical prowess in our X-Men Evolution video.
He went above and beyond for a show of this scale, composing distinct musical and sound cues for a number of characters.
And he also scored the Earthworm Jim cartoon,
Earthworm Jim, he's such a groovy guy.
The 90s Fantastic Four, and Iron Man animated series. Alright, real talk. The Iron Man theme is crazy underrated. Am I right? Biker Mice's creator Rick Unger had a prolific and unusual career. He started as a kids TV producer and is now a political commentator and radio show host.
My favorite one? In most states, if a corporation made a political contribution, it was a criminal offense.
Okay. As a producer, Unger was president of Marvel Production in 1991 and also had a brief stint as Marvel Entertainment CEO and later was the president of Marvel Character Group. So he's worn a lot of hats at Marvel. He was also the head of animated programming at New World, which we mentioned produced the second and third seasons of Biker Mice. Now, in terms of individual credits besides Biker Mice, Unger is best known as the EP on X-Men the Animated Series, but he basically was involved in almost every Marvel animated property from the 90s to the early 2000s. Stan Lee was also an executive producer via the Marvel Connection. Now, if you haven't heard of Stan Lee, then I suggest looking him up, but I highly doubt you're watching this and don't know who Stan is. The show was developed by Pamela Hickey, Dennis McCoy, Frank Ward, and Mike Young. Together, they've worked on a ton of shows like The Real Ghostbusters, DuckTales, and Clifford the Big Red Dog. Mike Young also developed 2001's Butt Ugly Martians.
We are the Martians, the Butt Ugly Martians.
Alright, full disclosure, don't remember that one.
The Butt Ugly Martians.
There were 19 total writers, including Unger and the 4 developers. Perennial Eydk fave Bob Forward wrote far and away the most episodes at 26. If you want to know more about his credits, go watch pretty much any episode in this series about a cartoon. Seriously, the dude is a legend. But in a twist no one saw coming, Bob's sister, E. Forward, wrote the second most episodes. She didn't do a ton of TV work, but she also wrote for G.I. Joe, The Legend of Zelda.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Love that. And she's also known for her fantasy novels. To add to that, Bob and E's father, Robert Forward, was a famous sci-fi writer and physicist. It's a pretty cool family. From a directing perspective, Biker Mice is pretty close to a one-man army. There were 2 directors on the whole series, and Tom TATARANOWICZ directed 65 episodes to Richard Trueblood's 1. Maybe Tom just called out that day. TATARANOWICZ also worked on He-Man and She-Ra, as well as the 1982 Pac-Man series. Trueblood was a director on The Garbage Pail Kids and was an exposure sheet timer on Courage the Cowardly Dog. So, thanks for all the traumatic memories, Richard. There are 37 total voice actors credited on IMDb. Dorian Harewood voiced Moto.
It's time to play Showdown.
He's had a long and varied career as a voice actor, including a personal favorite of mine. He was Monstar Bupkis in Space Jam.
I don't play basketball anymore. I don't play basketball anymore.
But he's also had a great career as a live-action character actor, with his most prominent role probably being 8-Ball in Full Metal Jacket.
Personally think they don't really want to be involved in this war.
Rob Paulsen voiced Throttle.
I've never forgotten what we once meant to each other. Now trust me, I won't let you down.
He's a voice acting icon. Yakko from Animaniacs.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru.
Pinky on Pinky and the Brain.
Yes, I am.
Raphael on the OG TMNT.
I'm gonna get sarcastic.
And Donatello on the later TMNT.
Wait, what were we talking about again?
The Mask? I mean, there's just like so many I can't. I'll be here all day.
Brick-a-brack, firecracker, sis, boom, bah! Mask, rah, rah, rah!
Ian Ziering voiced Vinny.
You're interrupting my beauty sleep.
Ziering has had some pretty iconic live-action roles, most significantly on Beverly Hills 90210.
So you think I'm cute, huh?
And of course as Finn in the sci-fi franchise Sharknado, which practically makes his co-workers.
God bless America.
William Morgan Sheppard voiced Limburger.
Oh, let us not be hasty when so much is uncertain. Your royal redolent Riekmeisters.
He was a voice acting and live action character acting staple with lots of genre cred. He was a Klingon commander in Star Trek VI.
Work badly, and you will die.
And Captain Witwicky in the original Michael Bay Transformers movie.
I'm all right, lads.
Susan Silo voiced Dr. Carbuncle.
Anything for you, your luscious lactativeness.
She's lent her voice to a lot of shows, but maybe most iconic is the fact that her IMDb character acting credits stretch from 1960 to 2020. That is the definition of career longevity. LEEZA Miller McGee voiced CHARLEY.
What's the big idea?
Biker Mice was one of her only acting roles, but she also lent her voice to 90s Marvel cartoons The Incredible Hulk and the Fantastic Four as Nova.
I've never felt better.
Brad Garrett voiced Grease Pig.
Vacuum out the aluminum, linoleum, uranium.
He's of course Robert from Everybody Loves Raymond. And also did lots of cartoon voice work.
The name's Lobo. That's L as in lacerate, O as in obliterate, B as in disembowel, and O as in oh, I guess I can use obliterate twice, huh? What do you think?
Now there's a lot of buried treasure actor-wise in the smaller roles on Biker Mice. But perhaps most importantly, there was an intense 90210 connection. Remember, I teased that at the top. I deliver. We mentioned Ziering before, but fellow 90210 actors Luke Perry, Jason Priestley, Brian Austin Green, Jenny Garth, and Tori Spelling all voiced characters. Feel free to use that random trivia at your discretion. Parties, dates, do you. Other buried treasure actors include Mark Hamill, Malcolm McDowell, Leah Remini, and Michael Dorn aka Worf on Star Trek TNG.
I could attach a tractor beam and adjust its heading.
While Biker Mice might not be the most well-known show on Earth, the 21st century has shown it some love. There was a 28-episode reboot of Biker Mice in 2006, featuring many of the original voice actors reprising their roles.
Don't look now, bros, but I'm thinking we just got rescued.
The animation style was pretty different from the 90s version, but the spirit was very similar. As with every good cartoon, Biker Mice spawned a lot of toys, games, and merch. Video game-wise, there was a lot to take in. There was a 1993 Tiger Electronic Biker Mice game, a 1994 Super NES game, the PAL version which apparently included lots of ads for Snickers. The 2006 reboot also brought with it a PS2 and Nintendo DS game, and 2015 featured a Biker Mice game for mobile. Marvel and Marvel UK published a short-lived Biker Mice comic that ran from 1993 to 1994. And finally, toy-wise, Galoob released a Biker Mice series from 1993 to 1996. Some of those are pretty sweet. Also, I'm pretty sure I had that lunchbox as a kid. You never forget a lunchbox. So yeah, maybe Biker Mice from Mars has a lot in common with TMNT. But let's also remember that the properties we often think of as being completely original didn't exactly come out of nowhere either. TMNT was itself originally created partially as a parody of 80s Frank Miller comics like Ronin and Daredevil. I mean, the original Power Rangers show, before it could go to inspire Beetleborgs, was actually created using pre-existing footage of a Japanese show called Super Sentai. All creations owe a creative debt to something, and that's not a bad thing. Stories speak to each other across time. You feel me?
So true, so true.
And also, we have to celebrate shows like Biker Mice from Mars, not only because they're dope, but because they're the ones that get more quickly forgotten if we don't celebrate them.
Hey, nice reception.
Kids today still know what Transformers, Power Rangers, and TMNT are, but we need to support the memories of shows like Mask, Beetleborgs, and Biker Mice to keep them alive. And that's what we're proud to do. What do you guys think? Is Biker Mice your favorite TMNT inspired show, or are you more into sharks or cats or penguins? Still don't know, how do they ride motorcycles? And do you prefer pizza like the turtles or hot dogs like the mice? Or maybe wrapping a hot dog in a slice of pizza? Let us know in the comments. Babe, I got an idea for dinner.
We saw. We whipped some tail.
Thanks for watching. For more Eydk, make sure you click over there. And for new episodes I drop every other week, subscribe over there. By clicking, touching, or whatever you do to pick stuff. Hot dogs and pizza!